Welcome to Bedtime Stories with Lana, where we journey, we unwind, and we drift into dreams. Hello, I'm Jack, a weaver from a small village nestled among the meadows, where the nights are quiet and the stars shine bright. Welcome to our little corner of calm, where I'll share a story to help you unwind. Let go of the day and drift into a peaceful sleep. Tonight's tale is about a poet named Elias, a lonely soul who wandered our village one evening, searching for happiness among the stars. It's a story of a special night we spent together, one that taught me to find joy in the simplest moments. So, get cozy, perhaps with a soft blanket or a warm drink. Settle in and let's begin this journey under the starry sky. What that you're settled, let's take a moment to unwind and let the worries of the day slip away. Imagine yourself lying on a soft blanket in a quiet meadow just outside our village. The grass cool and gentle beneath you. The sky above is a deep, velvety blue, dotted with stars that twinkle like tiny candles, casting a soft glow over the landscape. A gentle breeze brushes against your skin, carrying the sweet scent of wildflowers and the earthy aroma of the meadow after a long day. In the background, the gentle sound of rain plays like a soothing melody, calming your mind and inviting you to let go. Take a deep breath in, feeling the cool night air fill your lungs, and as you exhale, let your shoulders soften. Your arms grow heavy, and your legs relax completely. With each breath, feel your body sinking deeper into the blanket, as if the meadow itself is cradling you in its embrace. Notice the stillness of the night, the way the stars seem to whisper that everything is all right. Let your thoughts drift like clouds across the sky, soft and unhurried, knowing you're safe here in this moment. As I begin the story of Elias and our evening under the stars, allow yourself to simply be, to listen and to rest. The meadow, the stars, and the gentle rain in the background will guide you into a peaceful, dream-filled sleep. It was a quiet evening in our village, just as the sun dipped below the horizon at 6 p.m, painting the sky in soft shades of orange and purple. The meadows stretched out like a sea of green, its grasses swaying gently in the evening breeze. Elias, a poet with a heart full of dreams, wandered through the meadow, his boots brushing against the cool blades of grass. He paused to gaze at the sky, watching as the first stars began to peek through the fading light, twinkling like tiny promises of something greater. The air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of lavender from a nearby patch of wildflowers. Elias felt a familiar longing, a yearning for happiness he believed lay hidden among the stars. As he walked, a warm glow caught his eye, a soft light spilling from the window of a small cottage nestled at the edge of the meadow, drawn to its inviting warmth. Elias approached and knocked gently on the wooden door. He opened it, smiling at the sight of the poet I'd seen wandering before. "Come in, friend," I said warmly. "I'm Jack, and this is my wife, Margaret." Margaret appeared beside me, her eyes kind and her apron dusted with flour from baking earlier. "You look like you could use a warm drink," she said, ushering him inside. The cottage was a haven of coziness, with a crackling fire in the hearth, casting a golden glow across the room. The scents of chamomile tea filled the air as Margaret poured 3 steaming cups, the delicate floral aroma mingling with the earthy smell of burning wood. We sat by the fire, the warmth seeping into our bones, and Elias shared his thoughts. "I've always believed happiness is out there, among the stars," he said softly, his eyes distant. I nodded, understanding his longing, but I saw the beauty in the moment we were sharing. Margaret smiled, her hands wrapped around her cup. "There's joy here too, Elias," she said gently. I glanced out the window, where the sky had deepened to a rich blue, the stars now shining brightly. "It's a beautiful evening," I said, spark of excitement in my voice. "Why don't we take a walk through the village? The stars are out, and everyone's gathering tonight." Elias hesitated, then nodded, a small smile tugging at his lips, as if he sensed the night held something special. Elias took a sip of the chamomile tea, the warmth spreading through his chest like a gentle hug. The firelight danced on the walls, casting playful shadows that seemed to tell stories of their own. Margaret settled into her chair, her knitting needles resting in her lap, and I leaned back, the creak of my wooden chair adding a soft rhythm to the room. "The stars are beautiful, Elias," I said, my voice low and thoughtful, "but sometimes I think we miss the beauty right in front of us. Like this fire, this tea, or the way the meadow looks at dusk." Elias looked at me, his eyes reflecting the flickering flames. And for a moment, I saw a flicker of doubt in his gaze, as if he was beginning to wonder if happiness might indeed be closer than he thought. Margaret reached over, placing a gentle hand on his arm. "Stay a while," she said warmly. "The night has just begun." By 7 p.m., the sky had deepened into a soft indigo. The stars now scattered across it like a handful of glowing pearls. Elias, Margaret and I stepped out of the cottage. Cool evening air brushing against our faces as we walked toward the village's night market. The path was lined with smooth cobblestones, their surfaces reflecting the golden light of lanterns that hung from wooden posts, casting a warm, inviting glow. The faint hum of voices grew louder as we approached, mingling with the soft rustle of leaves. In the gentle breeze, the air carried a comforting blend of scents. Freshly baked bread, roasted chestnuts, and the sweet perfume of flowers, wrapping around us like a familiar embrace, drawing us into the heart of the village. The market unfolded before us, its stalls aglow with flickering candles and draped in soft fabrics that swayed lightly in the breeze. Villagers moved slowly, their voices a gentle murmur, their smiles warm as they greeted one another. I watched Elias take it all in, his eyes softening as he absorbed the quiet beauty of the scene. We wandered past a baker's stall, the warm rolls steaming in the cool air, their golden crusts catching the lantern light, and paused by a weaver's booth, where a tapestry of stars shimmered in the candlelight. The glow of the market seemed to cradle us, a tender contrast to the crisp night air. And I noticed Elias's shoulders relax, his earlier longings softened by the simple warmth around him. We stopped at a small stall adorned with ivy, where a young woman with a bright smile stood surrounded by baskets of flowers. "This is Clara," Margaret said, her voice full of affection. Clara's eyes sparkled as she picked up a small bouquet of wildflowers. Daisies, lavender, and tiny sprigs of heather tied with a simple ribbon. "For you," she said to Elias, her voice as gentle as the night. "Take a moment to smell them. They bloom best in the evening." Elias brought the bouquet to his face, inhaling deeply, and a soft smile spread across his lips. The flowers carried a sweet, earthy scent, with hints of honey and dew, and for the first time that evening I saw a flicker of peace in his eyes. "They're beautiful," he murmured, his voice a whisper, as if the moment might slip away. Clara smiled, her hands brushing against the petals of another bouquet. "The market always feels like a little piece of magic at night, doesn't it?" she said. Elias nodded, his gaze drifting to the lanterns above, their soft light casting a golden haze that made his eyelids feel a little heavier. The gentle murmur of the market, the scent of the flowers, and the warmth of the villagers' smiles seemed to weave a quiet spell, drawing him into the present. I exchanged a glance with Margaret, both of us sensing the shift in Elias's heart, a small crack in his loneliness, letting in the light of this moment. Clara tucked a stray flower behind her ear, her movements slow and graceful. "I know a special place in the village," she said, her voice brimming with a quiet excitement. It's not far. Would you like to come with me? Elias hesitated, then nodded, the bouquet still cradled in his hands, as if it held a small piece of the peace he'd been searching for. Clara smiled, her hands brushing against the petals of another bouquet. The market always feels like a little piece of magic at night, doesn't it? She said. Elias nodded, his gaze drifting to the lanterns above, their soft light casting a golden haze that made his eyelids feel a little heavier. The gentle murmur of the market, the scent of the flowers, and the warmth of the villagers' smiles seemed to weave a quiet spell, drawing him into the present. I exchanged a glance with Margaret, both of us sensing the shift in Elias's heart, a small crack in his loneliness. Letting in the light of this moment, Clara tucked a stray flower behind her ear, her movements slow and graceful. I know a special place in the village, she said, her voice brimming with a quiet excitement. It's not far. Would you like to come with me? Elias hesitated, then nodded, the bouquet still cradled in his hands, as if it held a small piece of the peace he'd been searching for. By 8 p.m., the night had wrapped the village in a serene stillness, the stars above glowing brighter against the deep, velvet sky. Clara led us through a quiet lane, her steps light and eager, until we reached a small workshop tucked behind a row of willow trees. A single lantern hung above the door, its golden light spilling out like a warm embrace. This is Eliza's place, Clara said softly, pushing the door open. Inside, Eliza, a young potter with clay-dusted hands, sat at her wheel, shaping a delicate vase. The air smelled of damp earth and beeswax, and the lantern's glow illuminated tiny star patterns etched into the clay, each one shimmering as if it held a piece of the night sky. Eliza looked up, her smile as warm as the light around her. "Welcome," she said, her voice gentle. "I was just finishing this. It reminds me of a night long ago." Eliza set the vase aside and wiped her hands on her apron, her movements slow and deliberate. "I started carving stars after my father passed," she said, her voice soft with memory. "He used to take me stargazing, and now each star I tip feels like he's still here, watching over me." Elias reached out, his fingers brushing the cool surface of the vase, and a quiet warmth bloomed in his chest. The stars on the clay seemed to whisper to him, not of distant dreams, but of love and memory, things he'd once overlooked in his search for happiness. He looked at Eliza, his eyes reflecting the lantern's glow, and murmured, "It's beautiful. I never thought something so small could hold so much." Clara suggested we step outside to her garden nearby, and we followed her through a narrow path lined with sleeping flowers. The garden was a small, enchanted space. Bathed in the silvery light of the moon, a wooden bench sat beneath an old oak tree, its surface worn smoothed by time, and we settled there, the cool wood comforting beneath us. Small puddles from a rain long past dotted the ground, reflecting the stars and the crescent moon. Like tiny mirrors, the air was fresh, tinged with the faint scent of moss and blooming jasmine, and the distant chirp of crickets wove a soft lullaby into the night. I watched Elias gaze at the reflections in the puddles, the moonlight casting a gentle glow on his face, his eyelids growing heavy as the light seemed to blur. We sat in companionable silence. Then Clara spoke, her voice a soothing murmur. Captain Janet cannot quite grounded for a while. This garden, it's where I used to sit with my grandmother, listening to her stories under the moon. Margaret nodded, her hands resting in her lap. It's these moments, isn't it? The ones that share, the ones that stay with us. Eliza leaned back, her voice a whisper, and creating something. It keeps me here, in the now. Elias listened, his eyes drifting from the puddle to the sky, then back to us. The moonlight, the scent of jasmine, and the warmth of their words seemed to cradle him. His earlier longing melting away, in this quiet garden, surrounded by the glow of new friends. He felt a happiness he hadn't known before. One that lived not among the stars, but in the tender, fleeting beauty of this night. By 9:30 p.m, the night had deepened, the air cooler, the stars above glowing like a vast, shimmering tapestry. I looked at our little group gathered in Clara's moonlit garden and felt a spark of inspiration. There's a hill nearby, perfect for stargazing, I said, my voice soft, inviting. Shall we go? Elias's eyes lit up, a quiet excitement in his gaze, and the others nodded, their smiles warm, eager. A few villagers passing by overheard. Their curiosity piqued and decided to join us. Bringing along thick woolen blankets, a basket of apples, and a small lantern, its flame flickering gently in the night breeze. We walked together, a small procession, our footsteps soft on the grassy path. The lantern casting a golden glow that danced on the meadow's edge. The hill rose gently before us, its crest a wide, open space. The grass cool, slightly damp, beneath our feet. We spread the blankets, their edges overlapping, creating a patchwork of warmth, and lay down, the softness of the wool comforting, grounding. Above us, the sky stretched endlessly, a canvas of stars, each one twinkling as if whispering secrets to the night. The air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of dew, wild grass, a hint of apple from the basket nearby, and I felt a deep peace settle over us, like a gentle embrace. Elias propped himself on his elbows, his gaze fixed on the sky, and began to speak. His voice low, reverent. "That's Orion, the hunter," he said, pointing to a cluster of stars. "Their light steady, bright, and over there, the Big Dipper, guiding travellers for centuries." His words flowed, a quiet melody, and we listened, captivated, the stars seeming to grow closer, more familiar with each name he shared. A villager, an older woman with a gentle smile, spoke up, her voice warm, trembling with memory. "My mother used to bring me here when I was a child," she said. "She'd point to the stars and tell me they were the lights of our family, watching over us, even when we're apart." Another villager nodded, adding, "We'd share stories of our kin on nights like this, passing down their wisdom through the sky." Their voices wove together, a tapestry of memories, shared history, and I felt the warmth of their bond. A connection that stretched across generations. I glanced at Elias, his face illuminated by the starlight, his eyes softer now, less searching. He lay back, his hands behind his head, the blankets soft beneath him, and I could see the shift in him, a quiet realization dawning. Clara, lying beside him, whispered, "It's beautiful, isn't it? How the stars connect us to those we've loved and to each other." Elias nodded, his voice barely a whisper. "Yes, it is. The stories, the shared history, the cool night air, the warmth of the blanket." They wrapped around him, a gentle reminder that happiness wasn't just in the stars above, but in the people beside him, in the lineage of love. In this moment, this night, his eyelids grew heavy, the starlight blurring into a soft haze. And I knew he'd found a new faith, a happiness that lived not in the distant sky, but in the warmth, the connection, the simple beauty of being here. By 10 p.m, the night had grown even quieter, the air now a gentle whisper against our skin. The villagers began to stir, their voices fading into soft murmurs as they gathered their blankets, their lanterns casting faint flickering shadows on the grass. One by one, they stood, stretching their limbs, and started down the hill, their footsteps a distant echo, disappearing into the meadow's embrace. I watched them go, their silhouettes blending into the darkness, leaving Elias and me alone on the hill, the blanket beneath us still warm, soft. Elias remained, lying on his back, his eyes half closed, gazing at the stars above. Their light now a gentle, silvery haze, the cool night air wrapped around him, the faint scent of grass and dew filling his senses. And I could see his breathing slow, his chest rising and falling, as if in rhythm with the night itself. He thought of the evening, the warmth of the cottage, the flowers at the market, the stories under the stars, and a quiet smile touched his lip. Happiness, he realized, wasn't just in the stars. It was here, in the laughter, the shared moments, the stillness of this night. I stayed a moment longer, watching him drift, his eyelids fluttering, then closing as he surrendered to sleep. The stars above seemed to wink, their light softening, and I knew it was time for me to go. But you, dear listener, can stay here on this hill, the blankets soft beneath you, the stars above, the cool air around you. Let the gentle sound of rain in the background, the rhythm of the night, guide you into a deep, restful sleep. Good night.